Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Chris from my channel, ChrisP44S, a channel mostly made up of tutorial and review style videos, as well as some live streams. I definitely have some live streams, so if you're interested in any of that, please go to my channel and check out any of the videos. There is about 4 years worth of content. And so we've been playing The Surge 2, and we are going to be fighting Little Johnny, and I'm going to tell you how I defeated this boss. So the first thing you need to know is that Little Johnny really does not have a health bar. The bar that you're looking at up there is a temperature gauge. And so what you need to do to defeat the actual boss is you need to destroy the 5 fuel cells. So you can see those 5 images right under his name. They kind of look like batteries. Well, those are the fuel cells, and he has 5 of them. So he has 1 for each leg, and then he has 2 under his mouth. So the best way to go about actually fighting him or doing this is, I thought that the legs were kind of the easier of the fuel cells to destroy, and so I figured if the mouth is the hardest, if I can destroy those first, I can destroy the feet. But kind of what I noticed after some trial and error was it didn't really seem like it made a difference, because actually after you destroy like 2 or 3 of the cells, he kind of just gets a little faster, and he seems to be just a little more difficult. And maybe that was just me, like maybe it was just him putting pressure on me, I'm not sure. But anyway, I started with the mouth, and so the move that you see him doing right now, where he's kind of like releasing this acid and these stasis traps under him, is a big one to watch out for. And if you're going for the mouth first, the best way to do it is kind of from the back and to the side, because he'll actually just kind of start to stand still and just swing the little like crab arms that he has on the side of his mouth. And that is really easy to identify, especially if you have the one implant that shows you when the enemy is attacking. It comes up with a little bar. So most of the time, though, he's just going to be swinging those little crab arms and just dropping his body right down. So it's pretty easy to see that coming, and you can just kind of dodge and get out of the way. One of the other big things that I noticed that really helped me out with this boss that I was struggling with in the beginning is I was letting my stamina go all the way down. So one of the things you want to do with that is make sure when you go in, just go in for 2 or 3 hits, and then make sure you have enough stamina to be able to jump out of the way when he goes to attack you. I think you can actually counter the claw arms too when they come in, when you're still under his body. Where we are in the fight and in the video right now is I started to move on to the legs. But like I said, the easiest way to take out the ones in front of his mouth or in the front of the shell is to kind of stay behind it and to the side. He'll attack with the claws, and then he'll also have like some stomp downs. So moving on to the legs, I just wanted to make sure I got that point home. Moving on to the legs, I feel like the legs are a little bit easier, and I started off with the back leg, although that big sweeping attack that he just did can be really problematic because it happens so fast. But I feel like it's a little bit easier to get hits in on the legs, and it's a little bit easier to build up your battery, to put points into your implants or your injectables, is what I'm trying to say. Because that's obviously like something you really need. And there is, in the beginning of this video, I did run in, and there is a body on the ground most times you can pick up a couple batteries from to stash those injectables. But the legs seem to be a little bit easier, and just because he keeps them planted a little bit more. Sometimes you have to watch out, like that strike right there. I came in after he had finished an attack, and it's like you'll put a couple attacks in on it, and he'll like bring it up really fast and drop it. So if he kind of stalls out for a minute and you run in to get a hit or two, just be really careful, because sometimes he'll just drop it right back down. Also, that big like acid spray is one of the best times that was one of those quick attacks that I was talking about. When he starts to do the acid spray, he leaves his legs just placed right down, and it's a really good time to go in and pull off a really big combo on him. So that's kind of what you need to do. You can see he has those stasis rings around right now too, and while I'm talking about it, I think it's easiest to kind of like try to stay in the middle of the ring when you're fighting him, because it basically makes the arena that you're in a little bit smaller, and it kind of forces you into more close range combat, which actually isn't a place that you should be scared of being with Little Johnny. because like I said, if you can keep your stamina up, you should be able to evade a lot of the attacks really easily. And so but the problem is that if you don't keep your stamina up, you're probably going to get his legs dropped on you, and they're really strong. Other note with the stasis traps, why I'm calling them stasis traps is because if you run into 2 or 3 of them in quick succession, you're actually going to freeze your character. So that's something you definitely want to stay away from. So before I go into the gear part, let me just go back through real quick. And so the front 2 cells, you want to stay kind of to the side and behind and evade his little claw swings and his drop attack. And for the legs, just try to stay within the stasis circle, but make sure that his legs are planted, and just try to go in for maybe 2, 3, or 4 hit combo depending on what your weapon is. I mean, that's pretty much that easy. It really is just kind of like a rinse and repeat style boss.
So for my gear, I'm using the Metamorphing Talons. I have them upgraded to level 3, so they do 124. Their attack speed is 111. The reason I like these is because they have a really high attack speed. I wish they had a little more energy gain, but something that's also really nice is that they have the 43 nano damage, so you can build that up to get some extra damage in when you're not attacking. I'm using the Vaulter headgear, Scavenger's arms, and the Vaulter leg gear, as well as the Spark Defender body. The reason I'm using the Vaulter stuff is because I'm trying to build the whole set because they're just it's a good set to run through the game with, because when you get all 6 equipped, you can perform the finishing moves without using any battery, which is definitely really nice, not to have it to use up your battery. So sometimes it's like when you need health but you don't have any injectables and you really want to finish the enemy, but it's like, oh, I really like the injectable to cash with the battery, and then if you use finisher, you won't get to be able to cash that battery charge and use it as an injectable. So that's kind of why I thought the Vaulter legs and stuff is kind of like the first set I'm going to build. The Spark Defender's body, I'm using it simply because it's the highest defense for armor that I have. I only have 2 bodies right now, so that's why I'm using that. And then the Scavenger's arms I'm just using as filler right now because my core isn't super huge. I am level 30 right now, but you can say I'm level 31, so yeah, right now this stuff is just kind of like filler for me. The big things, like I said, is like I'm trying to build that Vaulter leg gear. I'm trying to build the Vaulter set and then using the Spark Defender's body just because it has that high defensive stat. The implants that I'm using, I actually don't even have an extra one put in right now because nothing will fit in with my core power. So I'm just using the metabolic injections. I have them up to Mark II. The Omni Health Observer, obviously for seeing other people's. I'm pretty much still using a lot of the basic stuff. The only thing that I added was I added this battery adrenalizer. When battery is filled, stamina regeneration is increased for a short time. So that's kind of my loadout right now. Like I said, I did level up pretty heavy for this, and it did take me a while to complete. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe and give it a like. And let me know how you defeated this boss and what kind of methods worked for you if you used my video. Just let me know. Give me some feedback in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys in the next video soon.